Hi guys, it's Twitch here from Creep Designs. I am whispering because it is still very early on a Sunday morning and I do not want to wake my neighbours or anyone sleeping upstairs. So, let's see what I'm working on today. So this piece was given to me by a friend of ours. It's pretty basic. Nothing full on going on with it except for the fact that it's big and heavy. I've spent an entire hour trying to decide what to do with it. I have pulled out so many different paints and transfers and fabrics and stencils and handles, and I just couldn't decide. So I'm like, I'm just gonna keep this one super simple and get it the hell out of here, because otherwise it's going to drive me nuts. So I know I don't want the original handles in there, so I've removed those and used the backing piece of it to trace a block of wood. I've then used my multi-tool to cut a bevel, really rough bevel, around the edge of it and cut the corners off the base of it. It'll just make it fit into that space a lot easier without the corners or edges hitting on the inside. Filling the space with some wood glue, swishing it around with my finger, and then just chuck it in and clamp it. Once that's all dry, I'll just go in with putty and fill any gaps in the surface, because the surface isn't flush with the surface of the drawer. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. So I'm just going to use Timbermate wood filler to fill the gaps around the edges and smooth over fill the top of it, because the piece that I've filled it with is just shy of the top. just sand the top of this. I tested it first to see how long it might take to sand back the top, but top surface is quite a bit thicker than what it was on the feet. So I've scuff sanded it all over, and then I'm using Noglass Orange Peel Gel Paint Stripper. The reason I've scuff sanded it all over first is because it's quite a glossy surface, and scuff sanding a surface first will help the paint stripper get into it and penetrate that finish a lot easier and faster. So I'm going to strip it first, and then that will lessen how much time I'll need to spend sanding it. So that didn't do a bloody thing, as you can see. I also tried oven cleaner, which usually works really well for me, but it must just be this factory finish that it doesn't want to come off. So I gave up and went back to sanding. So I've gone to all this effort of stripping and sanding this top, and what I thought was just a couple of little stains is screws. I have sanded through to screws. So the new plan is to paint the top, leave the trim and stain it, and move on. Alright, so like I said, I'm just going to be staining this edge piece now because I buggered up the top. And I've also got these handles. I've sanded the original finish off of them. They're a different type of wood and obviously colour to the wood that's on this, but I'm hoping it won't make too much of a difference. And I'll be staining the feet, of course. So I'm doing the stain. I'm using the stain Millie washed away in the colour Sandbar, so this is one of the new ones. And I'm also using one of the new sleek brushes. So this is the 15mm round sleek brush. So it turns out the colour of this stain is very, very similar to the colour of the wood that I'm putting it on, but that works perfectly because if I went to seal it without putting the stain on, it would bring out all of the tannins in that wood and probably go really orangey or really dark, and I didn't want it to. I wanted it to stay the colour it was. So this was actually perfect. It did add a little bit more of a sandy tone with it being Sandbar, and it was just beautiful and perfect for this piece. Now I'm just going to scuff sand the entire body and drawer fronts, and I'd usually just use a folded up piece of sandpaper, but I got this sanding block from Bunnings. I think it was like $1.50 or something like that. It's just the fine grade one. It's soft but not super soft. Anyway. So I was going to do this in the colour Sea Spray, but I've ended up going with Sage Advice. I am applying this with a 25mm round sleek brush. Whilst I go in with my second coat, I'm just lightly misting with water as I go, just to help the paint slide around on the surface better and give me more work time, because it was a warm day. Using a 50mm sleek brush to apply the Millie Satin top coat. Alright, so it's all done. But looking at it now, I've somehow managed to create something reminiscent of the 80s pastel trend. With all the soft colours. Something you'd like, yeah. But I was thinking about it all night. I was trying to think of a way to change it without doing anything too time consuming because it's just one single table. But you know what? I'm pretty sure this styling is coming back in. So I'm just gonna leave it and see how it goes. As you can see with the legs, they are now turned out and straight on with the body because I've swapped them that way and that way so that the corners line up with the corners of the table itself. So hopefully that doesn't look quite as weird. So if I can move over here, hopefully that looks a bit better. I've just woken up. Just woken up and I'm all snuffy, as you can tell. Alright, let's get some photos taken. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. It's not my usual style, but I don't like sticking to the same thing all the time. I'm not a one-trick pony. If you did like it, please remember to like and subscribe and share and comment. Always love to hear from you. And yeah, see you next time. Right, so these are the original handles from this piece. And I don't want these because Can you shush? They won't fit the style that I'm going for.
I bet chickens.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Right. Right. Is everyone done?